What's going on YouTube? So the Cadillac Escalade has long been the sales king in the full-size luxury SUV market. And today we're with the latest 2023 version.
And we want to know, for 2023, is this still the best $115,000 SUV for you to buy?
Well, let's go ahead and find out. So let's go ahead and get things started today with our spec dump. So under the hood, there are no changes for 2023. That means you continue to have two different engine choices. One is a 3-liter turbo diesel, but the one that most people choose is the 6.2-liter V8. That continues to produce 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque.
It's routed to the ground via a 10-speed automatic transmission, standard 2-wheel drive, optional 4-wheel drive, and your fuel economy is going to be 16 miles a gallon combined with the V8 or 22 miles a gallon combined with the diesel.
Let's go ahead and shut the hood up, take a look at the exterior before we take it out on a spin.
Gosh, this Escalade makes me feel short, Drew.
So when it comes to the exterior design of the Escalade, it has long been known as the bling machine. And boy, does this one really dial that up a notch. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I want to first describe, the overall look of the front end. You do have, of course, several different grills that you can get between the different trim levels. Most of them come with a mesh finish. If you choose the premium luxury platinum, that's going to have bars. And then the sport models are going to have the dark mesh. However, what we have today is known as the Radiant package. That's going to be the most blingy you can get. It's going to sub all this out for this mesh finish, all the chrome, and we also have the monochromatic badging you'll see throughout the rest of the vehicle. Let's come over here to the headlights next. Obviously, this is a luxury vehicle with a big price tag, so we have beautiful LED headlights on board for all trim levels. Lots of details inside of them. They do have the animations as well. And we also have the bar that comes through here. This is your turn signal and your daytime running light. There are not any fog lamps on any model. Now coming around to the rear design, it has the same bold and imposing look just like the front, which is probably why it's the preferred method of transportation for 50 Cent.
Yeah. As far as some of the design elements on this one, premium luxury means we have chrome all the way across the back. And let's check out our taillights. Of course, that's probably the most signature design element for the rear of the Escalade. And let's see if all three elements are LED. So we have an LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and we're also going to have an LED turn signal indicator. So as you would expect out of an expensive SUV, all three elements are LED. I do also want to point out these have a really cool animation when you walk up to the vehicle. Dropping down to the lower area, we do have integrated dual exhaust outlets. They're the trapezoidal variety. I really like the way that looks. They're blacked out on Sport or Sport Platinum. And then as far as your tow rating, you're looking at 8,200 pounds with the V8 model and for 2-wheel drive.
The bling certainly continues here at the wheels. This is again part of the Radiant package because we have the chrome finish to these 22-inch alloy wheels. You do have standard 22-inch alloy wheels though on every single version, just a variety of different finishes depending on what your exterior theme is. Rising on up here to our mirrors, of course fully loaded as you'd expect at this price point. So that means you have power folding, auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, and heating. Plus, the Radiant package as well as the Platinum trim levels include the projection Cadillac logo.
Well, here at the side of the Escalade, once again, you're going to notice that this is a big, big SUV. It makes me feel so small standing next to it. Now, as far as the overall length, 211.9 inches is your overall length for the regular wheelbase model. If you go for the extended wheelbase ESV version, it's going to up to 227 inches in length, which obviously is a big, big SUV. Now, as far as some of our design elements, we do have chrome around our windows. We also have this piece right here, which really stands out in this black model. If you go for a Sport, it's going to be blacked out instead. And as far as your safety systems are concerned, let's go ahead and knock that out. Cadillac includes 3 out of 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment, and then you do have the option on all but the very base luxury model to add Super Cruise, which is obviously a hands-free highway driving assist system, which I would recommend going for because it is very, very advanced, and we do have a dedicated video on our channel if you want to learn more about that system. But guys, the Escalade is all about the luxury, so let's go ahead and check out the luxurious and tech-filled cabin.
And let's go ahead and get inside this beautiful cabin. First, we'll take a look at the key fob. Typical Cadillac key fob. You do have, of course, standard smart entry as well as remote start. And to get inside, the door handle is not one that moves, so it just has the electronic pad. You pinch it and it will unlock. Go ahead and take a look at that interior. This is a interior color that Mason and I have not sampled yet inside the Escalade lineup. It's called Brandy, and it really does have a beautiful look. But let's go ahead and break down the overall materials and color options. So you are going to have leatherette on the luxury model. The premium luxury and the sport are going to come with Mulan leather. That's what we have today. And then you have semi-aniline leather on the platinum grade models. But even without the semi-aniline leather, as you can see, this is a really elaborate seat. Lots of quilting and stitching details with perforations, color contrast piping, and like I said, this brandy color looks particularly stunning. This is not a color that's available actually on the platinum model. As far as your seats, you do have the 10-way power adjusting seats with 4-way lumbar support. You do have even more ways of adjustment plus massaging if you choose the platinum models. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now getting inside is nice and easy with the large power deploying running boards. And of course you got the awesome looking animations that play across the huge 38-inch OLED display as soon as you get inside. Now let's talk about the rest of the materials besides for the seats. So of course they're going to be very nice all throughout. Through here you're going to have the brandy leather with the color contrast piping, more leather across the upper part with stitching detail, and you do have different kinds of wood you can get. This is a high gloss wood. Of course you've got your heated and ventilated seat controls. We do have 4 fully automatic windows, or rather you're supposed to, but this one does have a $50 credit for having that missing in the back. As we go to the upper dash, all is going to be covered in leatherette, including the tops of the screens. More of that wood running through there, more leatherette, more leather, more wood, more leather. As you can see, leather and wood pretty much everywhere. This is a very nicely crafted cabin. But now let's go ahead and fire it up. But now let's go ahead and move into a first-person perspective for a closer look at all the details. Of course, there's no other better place to start out than with this screen system, and specifically with our gauge cluster. So this section of the screen system is going to be 14.2 inches. As you can see right now, we have the full screen map, but you can also change to a lot of different designs. It's going to be fully customizable over here on the secondary 7-inch display. That's where we can turn on our augmented reality camera system, which is particularly really cool. And we also have the optional $2,000 night vision. Of course, that's only going to work at night though. Up top, we do have a head-up display, which you can also adjust inside of that screen. And as we come back, you're going to notice standard rain-sensing wipers. And we also have the typical Cadillac Escalade steering wheel. Very nicely finished, full leather wrapped, except for the airbag cover. That's going to be platinum exclusive. And then you also have the genuine wood trim inside of it. Of course, it is going to be power, tilt, and telescoping on every single model. And then you have the little sensor right there, and as well as here. These are related to your Super Cruise system. Off to the side here, we do have our trailer brake controller, as well as our electronic parking brake. And let's go ahead and take a look at the interior storage next. Coming over here to our center console. Very large, as you expect. This is a very large SUV. You can pull out this tray, and inside you've got a deep storage area, fully felt lined on all the sides, plus you have 2 USB ports. This little slot right here is your wireless phone charging pad, so you can just slide your phone in there. Won't go anywhere. And then of course you've got your 2 cup holders, as well as another storage area and 2 more USB ports. Now coming over to the shifter, this is your typical Cadillac electronic style shifter. Very simple to use, just pull back for drive. You do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. And when you go into reverse, this is where you'll be greeted with the standard 360-degree camera system. As you can see, you got the overhead view as well as your traditional view, and you can also go into the system itself and go into the full 3D view. This gives you that kind of drone-like view over top of the entire vehicle. And then for park, just press the P. You do have the electronic parking brake on the other side. As you pull back behind that, you're going to be greeted with your Cadillac controller. It is a touch display, but if you want to not get any fingerprints on it, you can use this nice metal controller if you prefer that. And then right in front of that is going to be your audio knob. So with this model, you're going to have a standard AKG sound system no matter what. It's going to be 19 speakers for this trim level we have today. The Platinum model would have the 36 speaker reference AKG sound system. So that one's absolutely insane, but this one here, of course, has 19 speakers, so that is still quite nice, and we'll go ahead and give it a sample right now. Yeah, so overall, this bass sound system still sounds absolutely fantastic. Really fills up this large cabin super well, as you expect, since you do have speakers up there on the ceiling as well as in the headrest still. Okay, so as we move on, we're going to come to our climate controls next. This is going to be a standard 3-zone automatic climate control setup. And one of the things I really love about this new generation of the Escalade is that it, kind of has a analog approach almost. You have these beautiful high quality buttons to push, so they haven't gone to all these touch sensors and stuff like some of the competition has, and you just adjust the temperature with these really nice knobs. As you can see, you have the real good rolling effect there. You can adjust your zones. Everything is located very conveniently right there. And then we have our main infotainment system. So this is where a lot of the stuff is going to live. Again, part of the 38-inch curved display, so it looks really nice, and it's definitely facing towards the driver, so you have super clear visibility. This specifically is going to be 16.9 inches in this section, and just like I said in the past Escalade review, the graphics on this are absolutely stunning. You probably can't tell too well through the camera here, but the OLED makes everything just pop. It looks like it's almost three-dimensional. It comes off of the display here. Right now I'm in the wireless Android Auto, and wireless Apple CarPlay is of course available as well. That's what that's going to look like. And then if I click the home display, this is going to take me to the main infotainment system. It does look a little bit different than in the other Cadillac models in terms of your design. So on the home display, you've got these tiles. You also have the shortcuts along the side, and then you can swipe over to your broader applications. Once again, performance on this really top notch. Here's the built-in navigation system. Again, pinch to zoom. You can also tilt. Just really, really nice performance and just stunning graphics. Some of the best you can get in the entire auto industry. Moving on up here, we do have an auto dimming mirror, 3 HomeLink universal remotes, and if you flip that switch, it is a rear camera mirror, so that cuts out all the back obstructions. Of course, you got your HomeLink remotes up there. And as you would expect at this price point, we do have a panoramic sunroof. It's going to be included on all but the luxury model. And as you can see, a nice large piece of glass. The front portion does open up, and if you choose one of the Platinum models, you'll get an Alcantara headliner.
Well, 50 Cent always rides in the back of his Escalade, and there's a reason for that because it is very spacious and comfortable. So let's go ahead and dive into the space first, and then we'll talk about some of the features. 41.7 inches of legroom, 38.9 inches of headroom. That is going to be really good figures. I don't even have to tell you that. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". And if I pull out my handy dandy bendy ruler, we're looking at about 9 inches of space between my knees and the seat back. So really good knee room. My feet can easily slide up underneath the seat as well. So just very comfortable overall. You will notice that we do have captain's chairs. This is going to be the standard seating configuration on the Escalade. You can also get bench seating if you prefer. Also, you can recline really good distance, so you can take a heck of a nap back here in the Escalade while your driver's driving you around. Now, as far as the features, let's go ahead and hop into that. We have our own climate controls. It's just going to be 3-zone automatic, no 4-zone automatic. We do also have heated rear seats. That's going to be standard equipment on the Escalade. No ventilated seats. So Cadillac's offering the heated seats so I can get sweaty crack, but they're not offering the ventilated seats, so I can't cool it back down. So that's a little disappointing to me, especially on a car of this price point. That being said, they've made it nicer by wrapping this entire area in a nice leather wrap. Now we do have 2 cup holders that pop out like that. We have 2 USB-C ports, 2 HDMI ports, and a household style outlet to keep things charged up. And the reason you have the HDMI ports is because we do have the optional 12.6-inch rear seat entertainment screens. So you can just tap these. These are touch screens. They have a lot of different abilities on them. They can project via your phone. They're high resolution. They're touch screen. Very nice setup. You do also have headphones that come along with that as well. Now, as far as your door trim, let's turn to this. The door trim is going to be nicely finished leather on the top part, no rear window sunshades, which I think is odd. Down below that, we have a leather armrest portion, and then in the very bottom, we do have a lot of door storage. Now, if you need 3 rows of space, let's go ahead and check out the 3rd row. So in order to get back here, you just press this button once. That folds the seat into the ground. Once more, we'll unlock it from the ground and allow it to flip up and out of the way, so I can easily get back here to the 3rd row. Really, really, really easy to get in and out of the 3rd row. And sitting back here, my, oh my, I've been in this Escalade's 3rd row so many different times at this point, and it is still just impressive to sit back here. This seat is adjusted all the way back, and I still have, well, I guess I can get my ruler here, still have about 2.5 to 3 inches of leg room or knee space, and my feet can slide up underneath the seat. Also, the thigh support is absolutely fantastic in this Escalade. It feels like I'm sitting in a 2nd row seat. As far as the official figures, 34.9 inches of leg room for the regular wheelbase model. ESV expands that out to 36.6 inches of leg room. As far as features, we have cup holders on the side, USB ports as well, and vents out of the ceiling. And as far as on our 3rd row rating scale, this Escalade takes the cake, guys. This is fit for a king. It might not be fit for 50 Cent, but it is fit for a king in this 3rd row. Now, walking up to the vehicle, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it did have a really cool light animation here. The tailgate does pop in 2 different ways. So if you want to just pop the rear glass, press the buttons right there. You can pop the rear glass independent, which is something that we don't really see on a lot of modern SUVs. You're also going to have a standard hands-free power tailgate, so you can just kick under the bumper here, and that will open up your tailgate. All right. Now, as far as the space is concerned in the Escalade, obviously, you've seen how much space it has throughout the entire cabin. You'd expect that has a lot of cargo space, and indeed that is true. 25.5 cubic feet behind the 3rd row seats. If we fold those seats down, we're going to be looking at 63 cubic feet of cargo capacity, and if we fold all the seats down, we're looking at 109 cubic feet with this regular wheelbase Escalade model. Now, as far as the ESV, of course, that does give you more cargo capacity. You're looking at a maximum of about 142 cubic feet if you go for that ESV model. And behind the 3rd row, which is probably a pretty useful figure for the ESV, you're looking at about 42 cubic feet of cargo capacity. So lots of space. It is going to be less than the Chevy Tahoe, but it is bigger than Navigator, as well as most of its main competition. Now, as far as the finishings, we do have a carpeting along the floor. If we lift that up, we have a little underfloor storage, perfect for something like an umbrella. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out my measuring tape here, see how much space there is behind the passenger seat all the way to the end of the cargo area. We are looking at a solid 91 inches of space, so you are going to have tons of room for anything you're going to need to store in the back of this Escalade. It's also worth noting that the power folding 3rd row is standard equipment on every single model. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Cadillac Escalade. Now, we did have to switch to a different tester because the one we were in previously was sold, but we're going to go ahead and talk about a lot of different things with this Cadillac Escalade. We're going to start out with a hard acceleration, but we will be getting signature things like our sound level reading. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Gotta love the V8 growl.
That's right, good old American muscle. So of course, like we mentioned on the outside, there are 2 engine options for the Escalade. We have the 6.2 liter V8 engine, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, which is plenty to get this big guy up to speed. And of course, if you've been tuned into our channel, you also know there is the Escalade V now. So for those of you who are really power hungry, you got another option.
Yeah, and it only cost $150,000, so you could
it's
totally go for that option. Yeah, I mean, it is good that Cadillac does offer that, because even with 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, it's not exceedingly fast, but it's definitely adequate to get this vehicle up to speed, and you do have that awesome V8 growl. The other engine option is the 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder diesel. That's going to make 277 horsepower and the same 460 pound-feet of torque if you're interested in getting the better fuel economy.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the other aspect of the powertrain, and that would be the transmission. So we do have a 10-speed automatic transmission on board. Nice and smooth. You know, we talked extensively about this in other Escalade reviews. This is a really good transmission. Even though it has 10 speeds, it doesn't really get confused or anything like that. So when you just adjust your foot on the throttle, you immediately get the right gear at the right time, and that's because it can move around up to 4 gears at a time.
Yeah, it's really, really impressively smooth. It's going to be put to the ground via standard 2-wheel drive, optional 4-wheel drive on every single Escalade model. And as far as your fuel economy is concerned for this Escalade, of course you wouldn't expect it to get good fuel economy, and indeed it does not. 14, 18, 16 is going to be your fuel economy figure with the 6.2 liter V8 with 4-wheel drive. It goes up to 19 on the highway if you go for 2-wheel drive. And it is worth noting the diesel option gets 22 or 23 miles a gallon combined, which is very good fuel economy, especially for a vehicle of this size. So that's certainly something worth considering. If fuel economy is something that you actually care about in an Escalade, you probably would want to go for the diesel option.
Right, and of course that one just has a lot of torque. It does cost a little bit more though.
And now we're finally kind of opening up into a highway, so we can finally talk about the ride quality. Now, of course, if you buy an Escalade, that's going to be a main concern for you, is how good does it ride. And I am very happy to report this Escalade is a phenomenal riding vehicle. Now, the reason it's able to ride so well is because you do have standard magnetic ride control, which is adaptive dampers. Furthermore, you do have the option of getting the full air suspension. We're testing that out today because we have switched into a platinum model, which has that as standard equipment. If you want it as an option, you can also get that as well through the touring package, which includes the air suspension. And my oh my, it's just a sublime riding vehicle. This is as good as any other luxury SUV out there, and it just soaks up the bumps incredibly well. Meanwhile, I'm still getting a massage and the seats are really comfortable, so really no complaints whatsoever when it comes to the ride quality.
Absolutely.
Never get tired of that V8 growl. All right, now let's slow it down to 55 miles an hour so we can get our sound level reading. Settling in at 56.7 decibels. That is a very good reading for a luxury SUV. And as far as how that lands it on our rating scale, that's going to be one about in the middle of the segment. It's going to be substantially quieter than the Escalade V that we tested out earlier this year at 61 decibels, but it's going to be a little bit louder than the Lexus LX 600 that we tested out. And now it's time to do one of our other signature elements, which is our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball. Drew, do you want to kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
Yeah, so that's just going to be the overall luxury factor, as well as, you know, technology, which is kind of, you know, luxury as well. When you're inside of one of these, like the Platinum especially, really blows your mind. You just have so much luxury everywhere. The beautiful seats, the massaging seats, the Alcantara headliner, the 36-speaker sound system. I mean, it really does spoil you quickly.
Yeah, and as far as our Airball is concerned, This is a little bit nitpicky, but the rear seat amenities, you are missing a few over some of its competitors. For instance, you do not have ventilated rear seats. You also do not have a heated third row, and you don't have rear window sunshades. So those are a few features that, I mean, we're driving a Hyundai Palisade this week, and the Palisade calligraphy has all three of those things, and this Escalade does not, which is something that I find a little bit egregious when it costs as much as it does, but I'm sure Cadillac will update that maybe the next model years when we get a refresh for this Escalade. And finally here, I do want to talk about your warranty for the Escalade. You're going to be backed by a 4-year 50,000 mile basic warranty, 6-year 70,000 mile powertrain warranty, and Cadillac is also doing your first maintenance visit complimentary, which is certainly very nice. Most of the competition does not include any type of complimentary maintenance whatsoever, besides for BMW, which does the 3-year system. And finally, let's talk about the pricing of these Escalade models. Now, you probably already know these aren't going to be cheap. And for 2023, we're going to start at $79,295 with 2-wheel drive for the luxury model. Premium luxury is $88,095. Sport, $91,000. Premium luxury platinum, $105,000, and that's going to be the same for the premium Sport Platinum as well. Now, this particular model does have quite a few options on it. We actually have $21,440 worth on this premium luxury model, plus the $1,895 destination. We're looking at $114,430. It's worth noting, as far as like price increases for 2023, it's about $2,000 to $3,000 more expensive on all of the trim levels. But guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2023 Cadillac Escalade Premium Luxury. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By doing so, you help give us access to better cars to show you. And if you're already a subscriber, we certainly appreciate your support of the channel. You make all of this possible. Also, if you haven't had the chance to check out our TikTok and Instagrams, we do have presences on those platforms as well. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.